Hello, internet. Haven't seen you in like a minute. It's been like 2 days. I'm sorry I didn't upload anything on Saturday. I've just kind of been just because college is really looming over my head, and that's kind of a problem. Actually, scratch that. That's a big problem. But yes, so I'm back here in my little review area, I guess. If you notice, I changed my profile pic. I changed it for YouTube. I changed it to AJ Styles since he is the face of my wrestling show. And like the upcoming show I'm having is Unforgiven. I tried to fit the logo into like the profile pic. It didn't work, so I was just like, you know what, screw it. I'm just gonna throw. I'm just gonna put AJ Styles. So yeah, that explains why my profile pic is different. Hopefully, it should with other I guess you can say pay-per-views like No Mercy, Vengeance, TLC, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, whatnot. Hopefully, I won't have to deal with that problem. So that's a thing on that. So, anywho, review time. This movie I've seen at least a good 10 times when I was a child. And, yeah. And considering it's going to be having a reboot in 2 years with both a movie and a TV show, we should do it now, because that's how it is on this channel, ladies and gentlemen. This is how it works. The Rugrats Movie. Now, this movie is notable for a couple of reasons. One, this is the first Nickelodeon, I guess you could say the first Nicktoons movie, or not Nicktoons, Nickelodeon movies. That's a little film division. This was the first movie they made that's actually based on one of their existing cartoons. They made some others, like, for example, the SpongeBob movies, both 1 and 2. Well, the Wild Thornberrys, they did that. Could you count The Last Airbender? I mean, it was live action, so it is based off one of their existing cartoons, so I guess we can count it. They also did that Hey Arnold movie that no one remembers. And they also they made, with certain movies like Jimmy Neutron, Barnyard, they did movies first, and then turned them into TV shows. For Jimmy Neutron, it worked out great. For Barnyard, not so much. But that's how it is. Second thing, this movie, when it came out in 1998, it was the first non-Disney animated movie to reach $100 million domestically. I mean, that's quite an accomplishment, considering the animation market was just dominated by Disney and soon Pixar. So, yeah, it's quite the achievement this movie had. And third thing, this was when the Rugrats were at the height of their popularity. Because originally the show was supposed to be like 65 episodes. That was it. And then Nick decided, how about we play these every day? That way more people take notice of the show. And that's exactly what happened. People start noticing it, then the show came back, and then it led to this movie, which was a huge success. Then it led to 2 more movies. One is a crossover, which I do have. I don't have the official sequel, which annoys me. So, yeah. Some would say, of all the original Nicktoons, like this, Ren and Stimpy. What else? Crud. Well, SpongeBob was like in the late 90s. I mainly grew up with the cartoons from the 2000s. Your Very Odd Parents, your Jimmy Neutrons, your Danny Phantoms, your My Life as a Teenage Robots. That was my era of Nickelodeon. So I don't have like a full, understanding of the 90s, Nick. But I knew this was like their biggest hit they ever had until SpongeBob. So that's enough of that. So yeah, there's also a cat dog. Oh yeah, cat dog. How can I forget? A show where a cat and a dog are combined. They have no legs. They're just combined, and they have no genitalia, which makes you question how on earth do they do their business. It's ooh, I don't want to get into it with cat dog. Because that's very complicated. So, you want to read the back, you can go right ahead. If you can't read it, well, I'll just read it for you. Because that's how it works. Oh boy, this is a quote right here that, I'll just ignore that for now. The Rugrats babies, intrepid explorers and stars of Nickelodeon's widely popular animated series, are off on their first full feature-length adventure. With the birth of his new baby brother Dylan, or Dill, as I call him, Tommy Pickles knew things were about to change, but he never expected that being a big brother would be such an adventure. While attempting to return little Dill to the Hopsicle. See, this is the thing about the Rugrats. They're all babies, and they tend to mispronounce words. And, that's because that's how, they talk. So instead of saying hospital, they say hopsicle. Hopsicle. Or like when you say goosebumps, they say juice bumps. It works like that. The Rugrats commandeer the Reptar Wagon, aka Godzilla ripoff, which they actually got sued by who was it? Toho, who owned the Godzilla rights, so they had to stop using Reptar. So I'm surprised it took them that long to realize, this dinosaur, this monster looks awfully similar to Godzilla. It's amazing how long it took them to figure that out. And inadvertently get lost in the forest. It's a rollicking, I hate this next part, musical ride. To a world beyond their backyard as the Rugrats encounter obstacles and some big surprises in their quest to get back home. So, as you see this plot, actually, when it comes to adapting a TV show to a movie, you need to have a big story. You need to have a story that's worthy for the big screen. Okay? It needs to be big. It needs to be so big that it'll take more than like 3 episodes to do. And that's what Rugrats did. It added a new element into the series, which is, of course, Dill being born. Similar to like South Park, the South Park movie had a huge story with, blame Canada, causing a war, then Satan and Saddam Hussein coming out of hell. And then, of course, the Simpsons movie had a big story with I forgot. It was more or less an environmental movie with like a whole big dome, and Homer has to save the day. See, that's how you should do these types of movies. They need to be big in scope. It can't just be like a story you can just fit in one episode. It needs to be long, at least long enough. So, if you don't know Rugrats, let me break it down for you with all these characters. We have our main character, Tommy, who is bald and in a blue shirt, and who only wears a diaper. That's how you know it's Tommy. You got Chucky over here with his red hair and his purple glasses. Got the twins, Phil and Lil here. You can tell them apart because, you know, Lil has the bow on her head. You got the main series antagonist, at least up till this point, Angelica, who is 3. You got Spike the dog, you know, Tommy Pickles' dog. And then you got Dill, Tommy Pickles' new baby brother. And this is before they added a whole bunch of more characters, you know, like Kimmy and this added a whole lots of stuff in it. Susie Carmichael. She's also in this, but she has a very small role, so it's not that big a deal. And you got, of course, the parents of Tommy. You got, you know, Stu Pickles, Dee Dee Pickles. You know, Grandpa Lou. And you got Chucky's dad, Chaz. And in a very sad episode called Mother's Day, you find out that Chucky's mom died due to an illness. So that explains why Chaz is a single father who would eventually get married to Kimmy's mother, Kira, which explains why Chucky and Kimmy are brother and sister. But the twins are Phil and Lil. Their parents are Betty and I forgot her husband. I feel terrible. You know what? Never mind. Then you got Angelica, who's the cousin of Tommy, and her father is Stu Pickles and Stu. Those two are brothers. And then Angelica also has Charlotte Pickles, her mother. So that's basically more or less the main cast at this point. So this movie starts off, all the Rugrats movies start off with a fantasy opening. And they all parody a certain, well, at least with this movie and, Rugrats in Paris, its sequel, they parody certain, famous movies. This movie parodies Indiana Jones, where they call, instead of calling Indiana Jones, Indiana Jones, they call him, this is so, it's really childish, Okie Dokie Jones. That's how you know maybe this isn't for adults. I know it's weird for a person like me to review this now, but I mean, it is interesting watching this movie with adult eyes. So yeah, they have a whole fantasy sequence. Of course, there's a big boulder coming after them. I'm surprised, Mundane Matt wasn't there to, pick up that boulder. I don't know, that's a low blow, and I should make another video on Mundane Matt because I found out he may have bought subscribers. He paid for subscribers, which is just such a low thing to do. I mean, I'm never gonna buy subscribers because that's just scummy. Okay, I'm not buying subscribers. If I'm going to get subscribers, I'm going to get them naturally. I'm not going to be cheap and just buy them. Okay, that's not what I do. So, anywho, yeah. Actually, this plot was explained in an episode of Rugrats that was, released right before the movie. So this movie is in canon with the series, which I think is pretty cool. So Dill is born. Of course, him and Tommy do not get along at all, and Dill just cries like non-stop for like weeks. It's real bad. Earlier, Stu, like, he was building a toy, a Reptar ragging, a wept. I'm starting to sound like these Rugrats, which is terrible. The Reptar wagon, which, looks pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, it looks great. And supposed to, he was supposed to, ship it to Japan and, win like $500, and you're just like, really, Stu? Like, $500, really? Is it that worth it? If it was for like $20,000, $50,000, $100,000, okay, but $500, that's just sad. But the babies get into a little fight because they don't punch each other in the face, because this will be a completely different movie. And it'll be more like that live action fake trailer you see on YouTube. I think it was from College Humor. They did like a live action Rugrats trailer. Maybe I should do that for my 100 subscriber review, 100 subscribers special. That could be real interesting. I have a lot of options I can do for that. So the babies get into a bit of an argument. Angelica's there. She kicks the Reptar wagon, and then that wagon is off, and it's just going through the street, hitting people. I mean, they obviously don't get hurt because, this movie's rated G. You can't have injuries. They're just causing havoc throughout town, and then they go through like just a street to almost to like a bridge where they could have died, and then they go to a playground, and then they go to the playground and then to the bridge, and then they go to like this mattress factory, and then they just fly into a mattress truck. And Stu and Grandpa, of course, Stu driving like a madman because he thinks his kids got sent up, his kids and his friends' kids all got sent to Japan. He's just driving like a maniac. And he's, the mattress truck that has, the babies in there, is like, Stu's trying to get in front of it, but unfortunately, he causes the mattress truck to swerve, and like the driver got out there real quick. He just got out there real quick, and then that truck just came crashing down. How the baby survived, I don't know. Don't ask me. And so Stu, he finds out that the babies are not in the crate to Japan. So they try to find them, and then Dee Dee comes back. She finds out all the kids are missing. She's, of course, not in a good mood. And then after that, there's just a bunch of helicopters and news trucks and whatnot. And then Stu's brother Drew, Angelica's father, he finds out. He just goes to a friggin' murder. There's murder in his eyes. He just goes full red. He tries to break his arm. It's pretty intense. So what's happening with the babies? Well, they're in the middle of the forest with only a diaper bag. Or really, they would call it like a baby bag or whatever you would call it. They're stuck with that. And, the babies being, babies, they don't really have a sense of direction yet. They don't exactly have a GPS, but Tommy does have his, what he calls his responsibility watch, which he treats like a compass, even though it's a watch is not a compass. It tells the time. It doesn't tell where you're going. But he uses that because, give him a break. He's a baby. He doesn't know any better. But before that, there's this little subplot of like these circus dudes, and they have the monkeys like on the train, and the guys are just got off the train just to get some coffee and donuts and relax a little, and then that train is just gone. It's moving, and all these monkeys are all driving the train, and then of course the train goes off track, and a lot of stuff happens in order to build to this moment. Let's see. Babies go on more adventures. There is a scene where there's a scene. Oh my gosh, where I'm surprised this movie kept its G rating after this. Tommy, he's arguing with Phil and Lil over Dill, and then Dill's like, that tape on Tommy's diaper, I'm gonna pull it. He pulls it, and I think me telling you this might just get me age restricted, but pulls it, and of course his diaper falls down. Tommy's he's embarrassed, and then Lil, she's giving Tommy that look, that with her eyes, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Lil, no, movie, no. I know. Why would you give a toddler those eyes, that look? She's too young to know what that means. She's way too young. Way too young. And, there's no child porn. No child porn, okay? Alright? Anyone, thought, Tommy's diaper being pulled down, Lil giving him that look. That's a definite red flag. But of course, they play it off just only for a few seconds, and Tommy pulls his diaper back up, and that's the end of that. And I'm like, thank God, thank God it's over. And then more stuff happens. They go on the river. And then the babies all get into an argument. Tommy decides to stay with Dill, while Chucky, Phil, and Lil are just like, you know what? Screw you, man. You don't care about us, but you care about your brother. Nah, we're leaving. Then Angelica, in her little side plot, she brings Spike, to help find the babies. And, she gets lost in the woods, too. But eventually, the babies, they do find these monkeys. And there's a whole song and dance about it, which made me cringe really hard. But that happened before, the whole split up. And now Tommy is trying to take care of Dill. It's all rainy and whatnot, so dramatic scene. Tommy, he is, trying to take care of Dill, but Dill is just such a jerk. He is just horrible. Dill is just the most selfish baby ever. Dill just drinks all their milk, and then Dill just takes his blanket. And then, Dill, inadvertently, he pushes Tommy into a bunch of mud, and Tommy just loses it. He's just like, nope, no more of you. And he almost, pours this banana stuff, basically sacrificing him to the monkeys. But then he sees his reflection, and he realizes, oh man, I'm horrible. What am I doing? And of course, Dill gets scared to death. and then the two reconcile, and now they have a brotherly bond, or now they're officially brothers. They're no longer against each other. So then at the end of the movie, there's this whole big, I guess you could say action scene, I guess, with these monkeys. These monkeys are about to get these babies, and then Phil, Lil, and Chucky, they all become friends again. Chucky actually, he takes like the banana, I guess, jar. Yeah, banana jar. He just runs away, distracting the monkeys. So, and then Phil just says the most, just, like, Lil's, before this, Lil's just like, oh, he's Chucky, he's so brave. And then Phil's just like, yeah, I'm gonna miss him. He's like, well, we better get out of here. I'm like, my goodness. Wow. That made me laugh, just the way it happened. And of course, the babies and Angelica, they all eventually meet up. And the monkeys, the monkeys are about to come after them, but the monkeys get scared off. And they're like, oh, what scared them off? Then there's just this big wolf that might just murder and massacre all these toddlers. But Spike, the dog, he fights the wolf off, and Spike pretty much sacrifices himself in order to, kill this wolf. And then there's another subplot. So many things happening. Stu, he comes up. He has this like flying machine. That way he can look for the kids, and he crash lands, obviously. And Tommy, like when he originally had his responsibility watch, he pointed towards like the lizard's house, which is he thinks it's like a wizard. He says lizard because baby talk, and he thinks Stu, with his whole like flying machine like all around him, Tommy thinks he's the wizard. And Tommy says, I wish I could have Spike back. And then Stu just crashes to the floor. And then they see, oh, Spike's alive. And all the parents show up. And then they grab their kids. And it's all a happy ending. And you're wondering how on earth are any of these parents allowed to be parents, concerning how they just leave their kids all alone. Just, you would think Child Protective Services would be on this. But apparently not. So that's a lot of plot to get through. Surprising amount of plot. This movie's only like 80 minutes. So, pros and cons. Pros. Animation. It's the late 90s. So, 2D animation was still a thing. This is before, DreamWorks and Pixar officially turned 2D animation to dead. But the 2D here is really solid. It's really good. Considering this isn't, Disney. It's impressive. The characters are, they act like themselves. They're all likable to a degree. I used to hate Angelica so much when I was younger. I hated her so much. But, she plays her part. And she does... eventually, she does find, I guess, a bit of redemption for her character, trying to save the babies. And you're like, oh, that's nice. The story is definitely worthy of a movie. You can't deny that. Cons. These songs, I don't know what it is about these animated movies. South Park did this too, but for South Park it made sense because South Park is South Park and it wanted to rip on Disney movies. So I can excuse South Park for doing that. But Rugrats really, it makes as much sense as Teen Titans Go to the movies having musical numbers, and those were just awful. But here it's not quite as bad, but it's still just like, why musical numbers? Why? They do this in all the Rugrats movies. They do this, I think with the second one, they don't do this very much. They don't do it very much. But in the third one, they definitely do it. So, I don't know why they thought, oh, we need to have musical numbers. And I'm like, why? Just, why? It's so unnecessary. What else? That's about it. So overall, this movie is... I thought it was good as a child. I still think it's good today. It's interesting watching like these, this type of movie today. So overall, give it a 7 out of 10. If you're a fan of Rugrats, then you'll definitely like this movie. If you're not a fan, I suggest watching the show first. I mean, they have all the seasons on DVD. I suggest watching the show first and then watch the movies. That's how I would do it. So, yeah, that's the Rugrats movie. Sorry that took so long. There's a lot to talk about in that. Next review is a movie I don't want to review, but I have to because that's what I picked. And it is Garfield with Bill Murray. And oh boy, is there a story I love to tell you about that movie. It's very interesting what happened with Bill Murray with that movie. So yeah, that'll be the next review. So make sure to subscribe, like this video, leave a comment, and I will see you all next time. I am